What's good is the news? Yeah, running circles around the galaxy with no shoes on. Trying to gravitate towards what is good and how I try to gain recognition of how the endless abysses of energies is wild. How I am supposed to connect to all these eyes in the skies. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Welcome to the news. What we're trying to start out today with is talking about the UN, talking about the UN times investing, talking about the UN times investing in the global goals, times facilitation of the global goals, times being able to use games for change and change for games to be able to continue to try to facilitate the games for change. Oh yeah, trying to use the principles of investing to be able to connect with people, and also the principles of marketing and combining marketing as well as investing to be able to try to facilitate combining investing and marketing to be able to combine one investing strategy as a whole to be able to try to make the global giving games. Oh yeah, and the global giving games is aligned with the UN because the UN has the global goals, which has to do with like 24 or so different goals, and the intent is to try to be aligned with those goals. Oh yeah, for sure in the long term. And to take a turn of events, it's like the Event Horizon, that movie, but also combined with the movie Contact with Jodie Foster. It's like those two movies combined. Combine those two movies. And what am I talking about right now? I'm talking about the result of that, which is in essence like the result of that movie Contact, where you're sitting, but in this instance, it's like the forest. You're using the trees as that machine from the Jodie Foster Contact movie. And in essence, it's just very weird. Things get very weird. Time doesn't have a place necessarily. It's not consistent. And it just kind of gets very strange when you look into the abyss of like something like a tree, for example, because witchcraft is connected to trees and nature and all these things as well. And these things are boundless. And when things are energy and energy is boundless, then there's no bound to your mindset as well. And that's also related to the intro, because bounds are not relatable, or infinity is not relatable to bounds and boundaries, and then things get weird, things get incredibly weird, as well as that movie Contact, which is also based on science and also based on frequencies and studying frequencies and the nature of science, and is rooted in science as well. That movie is pretty interesting, as well as talking about the fundamental interest of stacking energies and developing the primary intention, the primary goal, the primary interest, the primary strategy that combines investing and marketing. That is James for Game Studios. That is the interest to make the global giving games. That is a nature of trying to leverage and have the ability to use human energy to be able to leverage global giving games, but at the same time, games that have the ability to give to all people in the world, so that everybody has an equal-ish life and has the ability to be able to try to appreciate just the nature of life in of itself, and the ability to understand and examine and acknowledge and examine and acknowledge and examine and acknowledge and appreciate the idea that life in of itself is like somewhat of a peculiar gem, and there's 38 trillion cells inside of every human being, and that each of those cells is infinite in themselves, and that's very unique in terms of statistics. But then again, that compared to the universe, which is infinite, is even more crazy and boundless. So at the same time, we're trying to just focus on this primary purpose of importance of talking about this right now, this little main point, which is continuing to send the main machine, which is kind of like the main machine, which is in that movie Contact, in and through the world, and trying to then again scale actually the idea of sending that machine again in the world, like that movie Contact, like they did that situation with Jodie Foster where she went through the machine once, but we actually want to just try to continue to send the machine. It's a metaphor in essence, but this is like a reminder of the podcast to be able to try to continue to send it, and also remember to send it once to begin with, obviously, to try to go low to Dorothy, like that movie Tornado, the twister with the tornado, where they have the machine called Dorothy. In essence, we just got to still try to send it once, in essence, by doing things like this podcast, in essence, but also trying to scale social medias, and also other things that have to do with scaling media, and also presence and awareness, because that also is energy. That also becomes awareness and such things, kind of like Bitcoin. Bitcoin was awareness. Bitcoin was energy. Bitcoin, when it came out, it was like an impact train that was sent into the world, and once that train was packed and it was sent out and it was left at the station, it was sent out into the world, and then it's been percolating and propagating itself into the nature of the fabric of society ever since then. And that's sort of the goal and the interest and intention behind the low to Dorothy mindset, the low to and the Contact movie mindset, is to be able to function in a similar fashion, to be able to try to therefore facilitate the attempt of trying, and then also and trying to scale trying as well, trying to not try at the gate, in essence, to not try to get the machine out there into the universe, which has to do with Global Giving Games and Transfer Game Studios, which has to do with Dinky Tehc, which is the energy, which is like the Bitcoin in the society, but it also is trying to make the society around the Bitcoin at the same time. It's like the two things are hand in hand in essence, and this is like the Contact movie. It's also like the movie Twister. We're trying to like release the machine into the tornado in essence, but yeah, at the same time, these things are very dynamic and very interesting and difficult to try to exactly time at the perfect timing and figure out the energy, because I myself am an boundless energy. Then it's difficult to get everything perfect at all given times, and everything is just sort of in motion. So trying to get things to function is a matter of trying and trying and trying and trying. And that's the reminder of this podcast, is to continue to try and also to continue to not try. It's mostly an interest to not try. It's like building a machine, but then not ever trying to do it. Or like building Dorothy and then not ever chasing a tornado in essence. It's both of those things at once. It's not trying, and at the same time, it's trying to scale trying. It's both of those things in essence. So yeah, we're trying to do both of those things. Remember to not try. Because you can always send it again. In the movie Contact, the machine is a device constructed based on schematics received from extraterrestrial intelligence. It's described as a form of transportation, potentially allowing a single person to travel through space-time or even to another location in the universe. The machine's design involves a rotating three-ring system that maintains a three-dimensional rift sphere, creating a singularity, possibly a black hole, to transport within. Oh, yeah. Flash frequencies from inside the forest. That is what was like an encounter today. It was like a frequency. It's like the code. It's not that it's unclear, but it's a matter of putting it together, packaging it, and then releasing it like it's a machine, like in the movie Contact, where they were able to build a machine because they had government funding and such things. But this is like a matter of using this kind of a podcast to be able to connect with other social media sticks and try to be able to build fabric, to be able to make enough of a house, to be able to make it tangible, to be able to make it understood, to be able to make it consumable by the conceptual society and such, to be able to play the games, the global games that are being tried to be made within the Change for Games fabric of the world. That is the Change for Games little metaverse universe situation where it's like people have to actually play and engage and such things, similar to Bitcoin, because like it's just enough energy to where it's like it's difficult to ignore. It's enough light to where it's hard to ignore necessarily in a planet that doesn't exactly acknowledge this type of light, and it's sort of supply and demand when there's only one supply. It's acknowledging that supply is a thing that it actually is to begin with, and defining that thing like Bitcoin was to begin with when that train arrived. It's been being unpacked and then repackaged and recontextualized as energy that's been very contextually in a software sense, in a tech sense, technology sense. Bitcoin is a very unique item and element to be able to already fit within the fabric of existing society, and those energies within to basically codify the nature of society and very, very aligned, in a very aligned sense, function within. And yeah. So I talked about yesterday, talking about scaling marketing agencies. There's a number of things we're trying to scale. It's very difficult to also at the same time try to scale the things, but at the same time, at the top of importance, I think scaling, not trying, is one of the most important things in essence, or continuing to try and continuing to scale trying, which has to do with different things like this. That's what the main focus has been around for a while, but it's also a reminder this podcast is to continue to scale trying. It's continue to scale trying, not just like forgetting to try because you have the machine and you forget to send Dorothy into this tornado, but also trying to chase tornadoes, and then at the same time, if it doesn't work out necessarily, to be able to continue to try and continue to try and continue to try. Oh yeah, until death, perhaps. And then at the same time being able to try to leverage partnerships so that it's not real, because at the same time those partnerships and every little podcast or connection that has to do with little bits of energy, even every podcast and every little bit of energy is stacking on top of each other. And even this little podcast is like a math equation, because everything within the podcast is stacking on top of each other. Well, it's the conceptualization anyhow. But yeah, we also want to try to stack the marketing agency, scale the marketing agency conceptual franchise situation, where it's like marketing agencies are gold, so we want to like try to expand on that gold and try to facilitate scaling that conceptual energy. Oh yeah. Yesterday was a reflection of transposing, transcending, and transisting and learning. So we're trying to compound in this podcast in the same way. Like the portal in the forest, like today was like a portal in the forest. We kind of went into the forest and sort of like conferred with some seriously rooted trees that had significant roots that were all over the place, that were following into the ground in various ways. And this again has to do with witchcraft, and it is like where the portal was to be able to try to tell you this message from today, or this is where this message came from, straight from the trees. Actually, it was like a flash. It was a flash into the memory. So we're trying to send and scale the tries of trying to send the tries of sending the software, the whatever the energy is for Change for Games Studios into the world. We're trying to send and scale that sending ability, scale that sending ability in of itself, like multiply that sending ability and continue to try to scale that if possible. Yeah. Oh yeah, in that movie, it's a relation. In that movie, the contact, Jodie Foster is also trying to connect with her parent, which is very interesting and deep, because that's a deep-rooted place, because everybody comes from parents. And it's all just an interesting reflection of how the world is meant to get weird, and it already is weird, and even AI art is pretty weird, but it's also a reflection of how more weirdness is meant to come based on those technologies and how they're used and how they're leveraged, and how it's not necessarily just about fake art or fake news, but it's like news that's real because it's fake, and it's real because it's real because it's put into the universe, it's put into the network of life and energy and such things. So those things can be consumed also as real, and then therefore those things can transpose, and real can become fake, and fake can become real. And very interesting, very weird things, very, very weirdness is able to happen based around fake art that hopefully can change the world for the better, ultimately, by creating and opening imagination holes in various equations, various mentalities and such things within people. And yeah. Oh, yeah. This is like a spreadsheet about power. We're trying to leverage power and the energy idea, and just expanding on this energy idea, just expanding upon these energies, yeah. And also the global film industry. It's very interesting how it's been unfolding as well because of AI art, and we'll have to see the direction which that unfolds. Yeah, so we've got that train analogy as well about Bitcoin, and that in essence is the news. We're going to probably leave it there. Hope you have a good day otherwise. Thanks again, Dinky Tehc, peace. Oh yeah, we also want to try to make art from AI art. Sound from AI art. Try to contextualize and build little bits of media like that up on top of AI art. Thanks again, bye. Dinky Tehc, bye. Dinky Tehc, bye.